What's going on, my guys? Lost and Found Dating channel, back at it again, like we never left, in fact, with another dating topic for you all to enjoy, because that's what we talk about on this channel. We talk about dating, we talk about life, we talk about women, we blend them all together. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying all the content thus far. Definitely be sure to check us out. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. Sticking with Instagram and Twitter for now. Maybe we'll expand at some point, but we're sticking with those, so be sure to catch us on those. Without further ado, let's dive in off the diving board. Let's dive into this week's topic. So the topic for this week, fellas, is how many times should I ask a woman out before giving up, before giving in, before waving that white towel, waving the white flag, waving the white flag, throwing in the white towel, because you do throw in the towel. How many times should I ask her out before I just call it quits? And we're gonna dive into, I'm not gonna delay it. I'm not gonna take a bunch of time to set it up and give you a bunch of disclaimers. We're gonna dive into it. You should ask one time. In my opinion, you ask a woman out one time, that's the number of times that you should ask her out. And here is why that's my opinion. You ask a woman out one time, you wait for her to respond. Maybe she'll tell you yes, maybe she'll tell you no. I've talked about this before. There's only 3 avenues you can really go, right? There's a yes, there's a no, or you don't get a response. We'll put that in the no category. Or you get some, I'm busy this week, not a good timing, whatever the case may be, right? So if you get one of those and you continue asking, you say, okay, I'll ask her in a couple of days, or I'll ask her in a couple of weeks. In my opinion, the more that you start to continue asking her out and continue inviting her to go on a date with you, the more you start to transition from her accepting your date offer out of interest to her accepting your date offer out of convenience, right? If she's very interested, it doesn't take a lot for her to make time in her schedule or to say yes to you and be willing to go out with you, right? She's very interested, she'll say yes. If you have to ask multiple times and you know, she has a reason or an excuse each and every time that you ask her, now what's happening is if she does take you up on your request, in my opinion, maybe it's on a day where she made plans and they fell through and she kind of tells you, yeah, last minute we can do something. Or she just has some open time in her schedule and she doesn't really have anything going on, so she's gonna fill it with your date. You know, who wouldn't rather be taken out on a date and have something fun to do than to just sit at home, right? So she says yes to you out of convenience, but she's not that excited or as enthusiastic as maybe a woman who the first time you ask her out says yes to you right away. Now, some of the viewers out there might be saying, well, you know, you don't understand. People are busy, people have lives, you know, people have families, they're in school, they have jobs, they're running businesses. You know, what do you expect? She's just supposed to drop whatever she's doing, just go on a date with you? And that is absolutely not what I'm saying. I totally understand people are busy. I'm busy. I have things going on in life. I have lots of priorities, you know, things that I'm dedicating my time and my energy to. I totally understand people being busy. you are probably looking at one of the most understanding and most lenient people out there when it comes to someone saying, I'm busy, I can't get together this week, or this week is packed for me. You're looking at someone who's totally understanding, very lenient, very non-confrontational when someone says, hey, I can't get together this week, or this week isn't good, or whatever the case may be. So yes, does being busy, is that a valid reason for telling someone that you can't go out on a date with them that week or in the next couple of days? Yes, I agree with you 100%. But even if you are busy, you still can make a counter offer or a counter suggestion. For example, hey, this week I'm pretty busy, but I'd totally be up for doing something next week. Hey, the next couple of days during the week, my schedule's packed, but in fact, this weekend, I'd love to get together if you're free, right? So being busy, it gives you, it's a valid reason for maybe not accepting a date offer that week or within that time frame, but she still has the ability to make a counter offer and to suggest some point in the future if she is interested in going out with you. So again, if I ask a woman out and she tells me, hey, this isn't a good week for me, I've got classes, exams, I've got work commitments, family commitments, totally fine. I have no qualms with that. I'm not gonna push her or pressure her. Well, you make time for the things that you care about, and if you want to see me, you make some time. No, I'm gonna be totally understanding, but I still know, hey, whatever you have going on, you can still make a counter suggestion and maybe offer at some point in the future as far as getting together, right? Give you a perfect example, right? Let's say it's you and your boy, you guys are planning something, right? Me and my boy here. If I say to him, hey man, can you get together on Tuesday? How about we shoot on Tuesday? How about we film on Tuesday? If Tuesday doesn't work for him, he's not gonna just say, nah man, Tuesday doesn't work, and then nothing else, right? If we're communicating via text, what's he likely gonna say? Hey man, I can't, film on Tuesday. How about Thursday? How about Friday? How about we get together this weekend, right? He's gonna throw out other options. Same thing likewise, if he reaches out to me, hey man, are you free to shoot Tuesday? You free to train Tuesday? Nah man, I can't do Tuesday, but how about we do Wednesday? How about we do Thursday? If it's something, here's where, if you want to do something, you make time for it. Here's where that does apply. If you want to get together with the person, if you want to make plans, you can still take some initiative and take some incentive and say, hey, I'm busy, I'm time tacked the next couple of days. How about we do something in the future? I'll get back to you, I'll let you know, right? Man or woman, you still have the capacity to do those things, even if you can't set a date at that point in time. And let me also point out that, I have a couple of videos where I've talked about how, verbally what I say and how I ask a woman out. So I think that's an important piece too. So if you do want tips and recommendations on, what to say when you're asking a woman out, what to say when you're inviting her on a date, make sure you click the video above and I go through exact phrasing. And the reason why phrasing is important, guys, is like I always say, I would recommend that instead of you asking, are you free Friday? Are you free Saturday? Are you free Tuesday? Ask her, hey, what's your schedule like next week, right? That gives her options, that gives her an entire week where even if that week doesn't work, she can still say, you know what, this week is a little busy for me. I'm not gonna have time on my schedule. How about we do something next week, right? When you throw out days and you say, hey, how's Saturday? And she says, well, I've got this plan on Saturday. Okay, how about Tuesday? Well, I've got this plan Tuesday, right? Now I feel like you're overextending, and at that point, I don't want to keep asking for certain days, right? The person, if they want to see you, they're gonna offer alternative suggestions. You're not gonna have to to offer one day after the other as far as making plans with them, right? So the point here is if you ask in what I would say the right way or the most efficient way, it limits the number of times that you have to ask again and feel like you're chasing to find a date or a day in her schedule where she can get together. Now, I've seen some people, you know, when I have discussions and I say, yeah, I feel like the guy should ask one time, I've seen some people make the argument, well, what if he asked a second time or he asked a third time and she ended up saying yes, and things, you know, totally blossomed into this beautiful relationship and they had great chemistry together. You know, what if that's the case? Do you still think that a guy should just ask one time? Yes, and here's why. I give a woman the same level of agency as I would give a guy when I'm looking at the scenario as far as one person asking the other person out, right? If a woman were to ask a guy out, I also don't feel like she needs to ask him multiple times. She can ask once, and if he's interested, he'll say yes, or if he's busy, he'll suggest a counter date, right? I hold myself and a guy to that same standard as I would hold a woman, right? Just because it's a guy asking the woman out, I understand, you know, the sort of gender roles that we put on things when it comes to dating. I understand that we're socialized for the man to ask a woman out. I get that, that's all fine and dandy, but I don't think that means you need to ask multiple times. Unless you're telling me that a woman should also ask a guy out multiple times and should be willing to sort of pursue and kind of chase him to pinpoint a date, unless you're telling me that it's fine for a woman to do the same thing, I don't really feel like you can make the argument that, you know, a man should be willing to ask multiple times. And I know a lot of women out there who don't feel like a woman should ever ask a guy out to begin with, let alone, you know, ask him multiple times and you know, be following up with him to see if he still wants to get together, right? So like I said, I'm holding women to that same standard, and I give them the same level of agency as I would give a guy. You don't have to be free that week, but you have the capacity to say, hey, next week, you know, works for me, or hey, I'm not free this week, but I'll get back to you and I'll let you know, and then we can plan something for next week. If that doesn't happen, then in my opinion, she's really just not that interested, and you're gonna continue asking, and maybe she'll say yes on the second, third, fourth, fifth time, but she's saying yes out of convenience, not out of initial interest and excitement and enthusiasm.
And one of the things that I read is like when a guy constantly chases after a woman, and like let's say after, you know, all of his attempts, the reason why she typically says, all right, you know, I'll give you a shot, is because she's exhausted all of her other options. And therefore she's like, well, these other guys aren't much better, so
right, what
the hell, I'll give you an opportunity to chance. And it's like,
boom, convenience. That's convenience.
Yeah, you will want somebody to actually want you for you,
right?
Not want you just because
you're available, right?
Just because your other situations are working.
Right. You want to be the first round draft pick. You don't want to be, oh, well, Dante is busy and Eric is busy and Miguel is busy and Julian is busy. So Frederick, oh, he's free. All right, Frederick asked me out this week. Sure, let me get back to him, even though I turned him down the past 4 weeks in a row. Let me get back to Frederick and see what Fred is talking about with that date. Nah, I want to be the first draft pick right up here. First round. That's right. You heard it here first. Interest, not convenience. So that's the first reason why. Number two is you have to realize, guys, and I want to do a video on this of having a modus of operandus, right? Having a standard procedure that you don't deviate much from as far as how you pursue a woman and you know, the effort that you put forth when you're trying to set up a date. The things that you demonstrate to a woman, those first couple of moments where you're trying to set up a date or where you're pursuing her, those are habits that you're going to build for the future, and that's the standard that she's going to hold you to, and that's the behavior that she's going to expect. And that's very important, because if you set yourself up as, okay, I'm the guy who's comfortable texting you and asking you out on a date, and you not responding at all. For example, let's say you text her and you ask her out on a date, she totally blows off your text. A couple days you text her again, hey, just wanted to see if you got my text and if you want to get out. From that point on, you've demonstrated, okay, my identity as far as how I pursue women, I may be that kind of guy who's willing to double text and who's willing to pursue multiple times in order to get the woman to respond to me, right? Now, some of you might say, well, that shows that you're putting forth effort. True, but at the same time, what I don't want when I'm pursuing a woman and I'm asking her out on a date, I don't want to be asking her out multiple times and then 2-3 months down the road, as we're still, you know, developing chemistry and setting up dates, I don't want her to at some point go, you know, he texted me, but you know, we both know that I can kind of ignore his texts for a couple of days and he'll text me back whenever. I don't want her to just, you know, let the ball drop just because she's put me into that framework of the guy who's going to ask multiple times, the guy who's going to continue to pursue her when she hasn't met me halfway, right? You have to understand, a lot of times people, men and women, they categorize, and the way that they figure out who they're going to date, who they're going to invest time into, is they look at your initial behavior, and sometimes all they judge it off of is a couple of text conversations or a couple of phone conversations or a couple of dates, and they say, okay, this guy, you know, I can kind of get away with a little bit more. I can duck and dodge his date offers. I can ignore his texts from time to time, and it creates that pattern where she puts you into that box. You know, this is the box of guys who are willing to text me and ask me multiple times for a date. If there's another guy that I'm interested in, and maybe I know that he's only gonna ask me once, and then I've gotta counter and ask him out, she'll choose to go out on a date with that guy and sort of, you know that, you know, he'll get back to me, and you know, next week he'll text me again. I don't really have to have that sense of urgency, right? So the big thing here is you have to think about the things that you're doing and how she may perceive them and how she may categorize you as a guy based on that behavior. So in essence, guys, that's my rationale behind why you should ask a woman one time as far as proposing a date. You may agree, you may disagree. At the end of the day, one of the big things that I want to drive home is, you know, this is something that I truly believe, that I actually, you know, think about, and I put mental energy into it, and I come up with reasons. Okay, how am I going to justify this when I come up with a video topic? How am I going to explain, you know, my viewpoint and defend it against some people who may disagree with me? When I say to you, you know, I think you should ask one time, it's not coming from a point of ego. It's not because I think I'm a big shot and, you know, I ask a girl one time and that's all that she gets. No, it's humbly but honestly, because that's, you know, that's my expectation, and I'm also setting a standard, and I want to date a person who has a certain level of interest for me kind of from the beginning. You know, initially I want to be able to ask you out and you'd be like, sure, you know, I'd love to be able to go on a date with you. I'm not really looking to try and convince or persuade people or you know, try and do a dance and a jig to try and get them to like me. You know, I understand that you have to put in effort, and a woman's not just gonna be head over heels with you from the beginning, but I kind of have a certain threshold as far as a level of interest that I'm looking for to begin with before I even ask her out. You know, I've had text conversations where I don't even get a good vibe, and I won't even ask a woman out just because I don't feel like the vibe is there. I don't feel like that initial interest is there. You know, so when I say to you guys, you should ask a woman out, understand it's not ego. It's not because I'm trying to come on here and because I think it's a cool thing to say, or because I think it's controversial and you know, women are gonna comment on the videos and have a lot to say. It's honestly because I believe that, and that's, you know, the standard that I hold myself to, and it's worked for me as far as dating goes. When you're asking women out on these dates, guys, I want you to think of your date offer. I want you to think of it like you're a conductor on a train, right? You've seen a train come into the station and leave, right? The conductor pulls up to the station, all aboard, you know, who, toot toot, whatever, opens the doors. Whoever wants to get on the train can get in through the doors and they're on it, right? You got about 15-20 seconds to get on the train, or the train is moving forward, right? Once that train moves, it's not coming back for you. That's how I look at how date offers and proposals should be. Once the train doesn't go and then come back. You know, you see those movies where the person's running, you know, after the train. Once the train is left, it doesn't go, oh man, you know, we should drive backwards and pick up that person. No, I pull into the station, I got my little conductor hat. Hey, how's it going, young lady? Would you like to go on a date with me? Nah. Good day to you, kind madam. And then I pull out of the station. I'm not sticking around waiting. I'm not going, you know, 3 stops and then coming back for her. If she wants to, if she changed her mind, women can change their mind. That's cool, no big deal. You change your mind, you let me know. I'm not gonna hold it against you. I'm not gonna be mad at you, but if you're not feeling it right now, it's cool, no big deal. You know, if you change your mind, you can let me know. But this idea of I ask you out once, or you tell me maybe, or you tell me you're not free, then I ask you out next week, I don't really support that. And I think you guys should ask, you know, one time and then kind of live with that answer. I am gonna do some follow-up videos on different kinds of scenarios, but the drive home message with this, guys, is you know, you can ask once and then have that be it. You're taking the initiative of inviting her on a date. I think that's something that should be acknowledged. That's something that should be appreciated and respected. Don't have your date offer just, you know, be totally unacknowledged and feel like you have to ask multiple times. All right, guys. So that's it for this video. Wrapping things up. Lost and Found Dating Channel signing off and signing out. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts. I feel like this is gonna be one of those videos where people are gonna have, you know, a bunch of opinions. Feel free to cannonball into my comment section with whatever strong opinions you're feeling. So, catch you guys next time. Peace.